They lived in dignity on a street called Nobility Row. They had new clothes and free tickets to lavish theatrical productions. And this was one Russian city where you didn't have to stand in line for rations. The people of Krasnoyarsk 26 had so much to eat they were nicknamed the chocolate eaters. But there was a price to pay for all this luxury, the constant threat of a radiation leak. Instead of a clock, there was a Geiger counter in the middle of town. You were forbidden, however, to even talk about the secret work inside the mountain. A giant electrified steel door seals off the mountain from the rest of the city. Kral convinced the Russian authorities to let him drive inside. And what he found on his unprecedented trip was astounding. There is a maze of eerie, dimly lit tunnels stretching for miles. It's impossible to see one end from another. It is a gigantic underground labyrinth, carved from the granite by thousands of slave laborers, political prisoners, and prisoners of war. Suddenly, it all opens up into a James Bond-like fantasy world. It's an engineering marvel, with sidewalks, streets, and avenues. Matt Bunn wrote a secret report for President Clinton on the continuing threat of the plutonium in the secret city of Krasnoyarsk 26. Why build this inside a mountain, this deep catacomb, Wizard of Oz, city within a city, deep in a mountain?
Krasnoyarsk 26, in a way, crystallizes the highest degree of the insanity of the Cold War. It's built inside a mountain so that they can keep producing plutonium for more bombs even after a nuclear war has laid waste to everything on the surface. They'll still be churning out the plutonium for more bombs to keep the nuclear war going. It's unbelievable, but that's what the plan was.
And this is where they did it. The real belly of the beast. A half-mile into the mountain, the control room for the 3 nuclear reactors. The reactors which made those 40 tons of plutonium. We were permitted to go inside one of the reactors. The platform where everyone is walking covers the chamber for the radioactive fuel rods. And the stunning reality inside the secret mountain today, a decade after the end of the Cold War, is that one of the reactors is still making plutonium. The engineers will not turn it off, cannot turn it off. If they did turn it off, the 100,000 people who live in Krasnoyarsk 26 would freeze to death. Because, in addition to producing plutonium, the reactors are also connected to this huge boiler room. It's the length of 2 football fields. If you turn off the reactor, you also turn off these boilers. And then there is no steam to travel through these above-ground pipes to keep the people of Krasnoyarsk 26 warm and alive. The reactor makes half a ton of weapons-grade plutonium a year. That's enough to make 100 nuclear bombs. Plutonium looks like this, an innocent-looking paste that could kill this worker if it were handled incorrectly. It can kill many more people if it's made into a bomb. And that has U.S. Energy Secretary Bill Richardson very concerned. He is the president's point man in the battle against nuclear proliferation.
If you ask me what threatens the average American the most in the world, it's no longer the threat of the big Russian bear with nuclear weapons aimed at us. What it is now is those Russian weapons and expertise and materials being stolen and used by states like Iraq, like Iran, like North Korea, like Libya, that are ultimate enemies. That's the nightmare scenario that we're worried about.
And because of the sharply deteriorating situation inside Russia, Richardson fears that nightmare could become a reality.
All it takes is a softball like this, the size of this softball, in terms of uranium, to make a nuclear weapon.
Let me pause there. This much plutonium is enough to make a nuclear weapon?
That's correct. That's correct. And
what, a tiny
exists,
one or a reasonably?
No, this would weigh 17 pounds, but this size. And what is very, very dramatic also is that simply at one Russian nuclear site, one of the 10, one of the biggest, there is more fissile material to make a nuclear weapon than in all the stockpiles of France, Great Britain, and China combined.
I've heard reports the Libyans have a standing offer of big money for anybody who can deliver plutonium-2. True or untrue?
Well, we believe that there are credible threats to substantiate that several of these rogue countries have, on the open market, offered anything from $5 to $100 million for some of these materials.
We know for a fact that Saddam Hussein spent billions of dollars to build facilities to make this kind of material. We know for a fact that Saddam Hussein sent agents to Russia after the Gulf War was over, when he was already under UN inspections, looking for the technologies of weapons of mass destruction and the missiles to carry them. We know for a fact that Iran also sent agents to Russia looking for the technologies of advanced weapons, and that some Russian institutes were willing to sell.
I have to let that sink in, because this is pretty scary. Do you find it so? You must.
I find it very scary. There were times when I was working in the government when I woke up in the middle of the night worrying about highly enriched uranium falling into the hands of Libya or Iraq.
For years, the U.S. government has been attempting to improve the lax security at Russian nuclear installations. But now the Clinton administration says much more has to be done.
Nobody anticipated the Russian economy would be in such bad shape. The Russians aren't paying their people. A lot of the guards of these nuclear weapons don't have shoes. They're fighting each other. There are signs of desperation.
And our man George Cryle found that desperation when he talked to some workers on their coffee break inside the mountain at Krasnoyarsk 26. We were proud of what we did, the foreman said. We were the shield of the motherland. Nuclear workers in the United States are taken care of, this man said, but we have worked here for 34 years, and we live in poverty.
This could be the time when someone gets desperate enough to successfully steal plutonium and sell it into hostile hands.
The threat of Russian proliferation, Russian theft of nuclear weapons and scientists, of materials, it is the most alarming threat that America has today.
Since we first broadcast our story, the workers inside the secret city received a small pay raise, but the price of food has doubled or tripled. To deal with that crisis, the United States has agreed to pay the entire cost of converting the nuclear reactor so it will keep heating the city without making weapons-grade plutonium. That work, however, is not likely to be completed for another 2 or 3 years. Until then, the workers inside the mountain will continue producing enough plutonium to make a new bomb every 3 days.
60 Minutes 2 will continue in a moment.
CBS Market Watch Update, sponsored by Charles Schwab.
Good evening. A new survey finds consumer confidence in the economy at a 31-year high. A record high close for the Dow today. NASDAQ was down. The newly merged Daimler Chrysler says sales are up 12% this year, and the Jenny Craig Diet Company has hired a famous figure, Monica Lewinsky. I'm Anthony Mason, CBS News.
Hi, I'm Chris Carter. I'd like to talk to you about a problem that can happen in your city, your community, to someone you love. The inability to tell the difference between a bid price and an ask price, a market order and a limit order. But thanks to programs like Web Shop, Schwab is making a difference. At Schwab branches across America, they'll teach you all about using the world's leading online broker. Pay attention. Just another way Schwab is helping to make smarter investors.
How do you look up a stock symbol again?
Market Watch Update from CBS News.
Just because other cleaners are blue like Windex doesn't mean they can clean glass like Windex. Windex with Ammonia D leaves a beautiful streak-free shine just about anyone can appreciate. Windex, best on glass.
Ring in the millennium with seafood platters from Red Lobster, shrimp, crab, or both. They'll make any party something to savor.
Oh, hello. Did you know there are 168 hard-to-reach and, yes, hard-to-clean surfaces in your mouth? ordinary brushes can't clean all of them like our Reach Plaque Sweeper. It's designed to clean the hardest to reach places, even way back here, thanks to Reach's angled neck and bristles. So even if you can't see all those spanking clean surfaces, your dentist certainly will. Reach, we wrote the book on clean teeth.
Nobody in America sells more office products to more businesses than Office Depot.
You can shop our store. Or you can shop our catalog.
You can shop online.
Taking care of business. It's all mine. Taking care of business and working overtime. Work out.
Office Depot. Taking care of business.
CBS Next. A medical miracle gave him a new life in a new body.
I've never done one of these before.
The only catch, he can never reveal his identity to the family he left behind.
I will never let anything bad happen to you or Heather.
The most original show of the year, now and again on a special day. CBS Next.
CBS New Year's Eve. Don't miss Dave in primetime. Granny's greatest performances. Plus Will Smith and Millennium Surprises. CBS New Year's Eve.
Congratulations to Ladies Man, People's Choice nominee for Favorite New Comedy Series.
Once in a while, a car comes along that's really worth pursuing. A car with features like an automatic transmission, alloy wheels, ABS, a security system, and more, all offered at a price that has proven to be very elusive. Of course, you have to see such a car. To not would be criminal. The Special Edition Accord from Honda. Now get APR financing as low as 3.9% APR for 36 months on new 4-cylinder Accord sedans.
Some things have a way of changing your whole outlook, like the Chrysler year-end event. Because depending on the Chrysler you select, you can get a low lease or cash allowance or an attractive finance rate. The Chrysler year-end event. It can have a profound influence on you. Now, Daimler Chrysler will pay your excise tax on any new Chrysler or Plymouth vehicle.
Tonight's programming on Coin TV6 is brought to you in part by Adventure RV.
In keeping with tonight's theme, we decided to ask Jimmy Tingle what the next century might be like.
So people have been asking me my thoughts on what life will be like during the next century. That's a pretty hard question to answer. I'm used to people asking me much simpler questions like, are you gaining weight? Well, I've given the next 100 years some thought, and I've come up with a few ideas. First of all, I predict the global economy will definitely continue to expand, ultimately replacing nations with markets. I think the Chamber of Commerce eventually will have its own army. I also think people will no longer be called citizens, but rather customers. Since it's a law of economics that the customer is always right, this is good news. As customers, we can demand higher wages, quality education, and quality health care, because it is to the advantage of the market to do so. This will lead to a worldwide Consumers' Bill of Rights. Political repression, torture, imprisonment, and even war will be outlawed simply because pain and suffering greatly inhibit shopping. Also, because the internet will increasingly dominate the way we communicate and do business, when someone is born, instead of giving a birth certificate, I predict that person will be issued a web page and a credit card. Start them young. Race relations will continue to improve because as people migrate from market to market, they will naturally integrate and intermarry. Eventually, everybody will be basically the same color, a light golden brown, like a French fry. Finally, I foresee the world's major religions following the example of corporations. I predict Islam, Christianity, and Judaism will eventually merge and declare Monday to be the Sabbath, thereby making every weekend a long one.
I'm Charlie Rose. We'll be back in the next century, next Tuesday, with another edition of 60 Minutes 2. Don't forget the early show, first thing in the morning. And now here's a look at what's coming up tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
Are you ready for Y2K? If there's a problem, have you stocked up on emergency items? Do you really need to? Tomorrow, we'll take you to stores around the country to see exactly what folks are buying, whether they're hoarding, and whether you should be concerned. That and more on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Worried about Y2K? Get a new Buick. Why? Let's say the city goes dark. Buick's headlights come on automatically. Very clever. No heat? Dual climate control. So get cozy in your comfy power seat with your portable TV and watch the test pattern. During Buick's Not to Worry event, get a Century 2000 Special Edition with a Millennium offer worth $2,000, just in time for the year 2000. No blow dryer? Sunroof.
For years, people have won millions from Publishers Clearinghouse by mailing in entries. But now there's another way to win. Introducing PCH.com, where one click could win you $21 million Super Bowl Sunday. Enter by mail or online. But whatever you do, enter.
Did the holidays do a number on your diet? Now is the time to get back on track during Sears' Best Time to Buy. You'll get 0% financing on all treadmills till January 2001 when you use your Sears card. Hurry, time is running out.
I'm raising my stock to buy.
This is a stock to avoid.
In this stock market, there's no room for uncertainty.
The company announced what we do is we produce advice. That is our primary product.
This is when the work we do means the most.
I dig beyond the surface. What's going on behind the scenes?
Take advantage of all that Prudential has to offer.
A dollar sale.
We have the technology, we have the savvy, we care.
Invest with an edge. Invest with Prudential.
CBS Wednesday, America celebrates film legend Sean Connery,
We love you.
Oscar winner Jason Robards, and musical genius Stevie Wonder. The stars turn out for a night of spectacular performances by Bill Cosby, Smokey Robinson, and many more. It's an unforgettable television event. The Kennedy Center honors CBS Wednesday.
You haven't